and gentlemen, to the channel, your boy World of Wrestling, here today to discuss about some MMA news and rumors, episode number 6. I'm going to go over some articles I bookmarked on my phone here and go over with you guys some of the things that I came across I'm interested in talking about. First story is actually about Tony Ferguson reflecting on the UFC departure and saying it was the toughest thing he had to do. He is old. He's like in his 40s now. And he had a really bad ending to his career with the UFC. This article was done on March 4th, so last week. Tony Ferguson release from the UFC was an emotional time in his career. Ferguson parted ways with the UFC after almost 14 years of competing inside the octagon. It was a stressful ride for Ferguson, who kickstarted his tenure by winning season 13 of The Ultimate Fighter in 2011, en route to capturing the UFC Interim Lightweight Championship. However, Ferguson closed out his run on a historic downfall after amassing a UFC record 8 consecutive losses, most recently a submission to Michael Chiesa last August at UFC on NBC 7. Ferguson says, "I have to tell you, I packed up all my UFC stuff, I put it into my bags, and it was the hardest thing I had to do." Ferguson said Monday on the Ariel Helwani show, "It was a couple of days where it took time for me to be able to adjust. I put everything in big storage bags and I was ready to move on. I went into the Ultimate Fighter with the purpose of winning a fat check so I can help my family out, my grandma and everything. And I ended up getting a contract. So this whole entire process has never been a disappointment. But what it has been is a learning experience of how I go about my business, 2, about how I treat my close circle, and 3, about how I want to plan for the future. Right now, where we're at in this stage, it's so amazing that there is an opportunity for a lot of other people to display their things and new clothes and a new jersey and a name on the shirt. It's such a great feeling to have and relief to move on. No bad blood anywhere. I think this is great. I'm a human being." Ferguson has already moved on. He inked a deal with the Global Fight League and said he'll fight Dylan Denez on May 11th in Los Angeles. While Ferguson is at peace with his time in the UFC, he can't help but feel bitter about some of the things that happened, including being stripped of his interim title when he withdrew from his title bout against Habib Nurmagomedov at UFC 223 after blowing out his knee in a freak accident. "I have fought for fucking I don't know how many years, waiting for a championship and then getting it and then having it taken and then dangling in front of me again. Like, what do you think I am? I'm a human being," Ferguson said. "I'm not trying to bitch and moan. I'm a tough motherfucker and I'm a human being, but at least if you do this to me, you're not going to feel bad for doing it to the next person. And then there's a lawsuit and there's other things, but that's not what I'm focused on. My focus is always to what? Keep the sport moving." And that's basically it. Yeah, it seems a little fucked up to take a title from someone who got an injury. They don't normally do that. They usually just find an interim champion, but I guess because he was the interim champion, not the legitimate champion, they stripped him of the title and moved on from that. That's what I'm getting from that, but it is what it is, I guess you could say. Tony Ferguson was a good fighter. I enjoyed watching his fights. Uh, him still fighting, though, I think is stupid as fuck. But, hey, it is what it is, you know? But, what are you going to do? So, uh, later on in the weekend, the day after the UFC 313 event, Tom Aspinall was teasing a fight with Jon Jones again after Alex Pereira lost. And it says that everything is now done in the headlines. So after UFC CEO Dana White told MMA Junkie on Saturday that he's very confident the Jon Jones versus Tom Aspinall heavyweight title unifier happens this summer. The interim champ has provided more reason for excitement. Aspinall released a video blog Sunday on his YouTube channel reacting to Alex Pereira losing the light heavyweight title to Magomed Ankalaev in the UFC 313 headliner, and indicated that result will be majorly beneficial for him. Prior to the UFC 313 fight week beginning, Aspinall said Jon Jones was holding up negotiations perhaps to see if Pereira would win and set up a fight between them. But the momentum between Jones versus Pereira is now largely dead, and Aspinall revealed off the back of Dana White's comments that a deal has been reached. Jones versus Pereira is actually off the table now. Aspinall said the Alex Pereira fight at heavyweight or any other weight, really, I mean, I guess he could still fight him at light heavyweight, really, I guess, but it would be for a title. John, there's only one thing to do, mate. Sign the contract and let's get a date going. We've seen last night Dana White was talking. Everything is now done on John's side, and the UFC now have to find a date and venue, a place, location. So we're waiting for that. We've got some good news coming soon, hopefully. And Aspinall said Pereira looked stiff in his defeat to Ankalaev at UFC 313. He's also claimed he would have finished Pereira in the moment where Ankalaev wobbled him late in the second round. Overall, he thought it was a comfortable victory for Ankalaev by 48-47 or 49-46 scorecards. I disagree with the 49-46. 100%. I don't think Ankalaev won that fight 49-46. 48-47, maybe. I still think Pereira won, but then again, he wasn't pushing forward like he normally did. So I kind of think that's the reason why this fight went to Ankalaev's favor at the end of the day. With Pereira no longer a threat to potentially steal his fight against Jones, Aspinall said he thinks a rematch with Ankalaev is his most logical career decision. Alex Pereira's run as champion is done for now, Aspinall said. In my opinion, immediate rematch should be there next. Alex Pereira is a massive, massive star in the sport of MMA. Massive. Lost it and lost his title, but the run that he has been on is warranted for an immediate rematch, in my opinion. Magomed Ankalaev, to me, it looks like he's got his number. It looks like the same thing could happen again, in my opinion. I want to see it again. I absolutely want to see that fight again. It was a great fight. I wouldn't say it was a great fight, but it was a very smart fight plan by Magomed Ankalaev. I think he did a very good job in the fight. He took the fight to his advantages. He couldn't get him to the ground, but he managed to push him up against the cage and make it look like he had more dominance over Pereira for the judges' scorecard. I think that's kind of where he was going with this. And his stand-up fight game is not bad at all. His wrestling is not very good. Most guys like Islam Makhachev, the guys from Russia, they seem to be very good at wrestling. He's not exactly in that realm of good wrestling because Pierre, I'm not known to see him to be really good against takedowns or anything like that, but he was able to defend the takedowns 11 times. Or if he got taken down, he'd easily get back up. So, I mean, Ankalaev really did well stand-up wise. I was pretty much thinking he was a threat to that title. I was back and forth on this on Tapology. I like to pick the fights and get statistics. I created an account and everything on there, and I was back and forth. I originally picked Magomed Ankalaev, but got to hear other people's opinions and whatnot, and I was like, maybe they're right. Maybe Pierre could pull this thing off and knock him out. The only person that didn't say that was agreeing with me initially was AJ DeVito from MMA Experts. If you haven't checked out his channel, I highly recommend it. He's very good. He's helped me get a lot of picks correct. I've been on 100% hit rate on picking fighters, like picking one fighter per card and betting on them. I don't go based off of the odds. I just go based off of what I feel is most confident and then just win, pretty much. May not be the best betting decision on strategy, but it's been working for me for quite a while now, so I've been doing really good all this year. Very happy where I'm at right now with this, so it's been working out well for me. But yeah, I think that Ankalaev did very well in this fight, despite the fact that it wasn't exciting. It wasn't really that exciting. It was a good technical fight, but at the end of the day, Alex Pereira should have put him away, and he didn't. He ended up going ahead and, just pretty much being very concerned, I would say, being very selective, not pushing on the gas pedal like he normally does. And it just seemed like he was being a little concerned about making a mistake and getting knocked out or something like that. So I give Pierre a lot of credit. He took Ankalaev seriously. He didn't take him as somebody you can just go in on and attack. He's a good stand-up fighter. I will give him that. But Pierre, he was shy behind the trigger, and he just didn't pull the trigger like he usually does. And I think the second time around, he's either going to pull the trigger or he's pretty much done in the UFC. His career is going to be over. He's got to do something and knock this guy clean off his ass. Knock him on his ass, basically. So, yeah, I think Pereira better do something or he's out of the picture in the UFC light heavyweight division for the title. For Tom Aspinall and Jon Jones, I'm fucking stoked for that. Can't wait to hear when that fight is taking place this year. And most definitely going to be buying that pay-per-view. That is a fucking good matchup. I hope the rest of the card goes very well with that. I'll be taking Tom Aspinall over Jon Jones in this one. I think Tom Aspinall could knock him out. I really do. Do I feel that Jon Jones could still win this fight? Absolutely. He's the best for a reason. He's beaten everybody in the UFC. He's only had one loss in his career, and that was on account of a disqualification. Other than that, he never has been beaten legitimately, which is unbelievable. I think the man as a fighter is great. As a person, I'm not a fan of Jon Jones, even though he's a Christian. I'm a Christian as well. But personally, he takes it for granted, in my personal opinion. If he was a real Christian, he'd stop fucking messing around with his life and doing all these dumb things to himself and people around him. But that's just me. The UFC 313 event, they made an announcement that Robbie Lawler will be inducted into the UFC Hall of Fame. This is to nobody's surprise. I'm not shocked that Robbie Lawler is being thrown in the UFC Hall of Fame. This man has won multiple championships in different promotions. The man has been in the top of the realm of UFC. He has beaten some of the biggest names in the UFC as well in Strikeforce. And this man has had some memorable pay-per-view events where he has fought and defended the title or has competed for the title. And this guy is... I'm very happy for Robbie Lawler. I'm glad he is in the UFC Hall of Fame. He deserves it. He's done a lot for this sport and had some very memorable fights. He's actually came out and said that he had a feeling that he was going to be announced to be in the UFC Hall of Fame. It wasn't something that he was surprised by. It's just when it was going to happen is pretty much what he was waiting for, is when they were going to announce it. But yeah, congratulations to Robbie Lawler, and I'm happy to hear that he's in the UFC Hall of Fame. To talk about is about Justin Gaethje after his fight with on UFC 313. His fight 313 I think was a good one. Unfortunately, his opponent, I forgot his name. Give me 1 second. Trying to find out what his name is. I should already know that, huh? Rafael Fiziev. Yeah, Rafael Fiziev gave him a tough fight. Very close fight. 29-28 was the scorecard, which I agree with. I think that fight was extremely close. Rafael Fiziev could have won that fight too, I think. I think he might have gotten a little too tired. But yeah, I really think that Justin Gaethje had a good performance. I do have to say that his skills have diminished a little bit, and I think that has to do with age. I think he could have knocked this guy out if he was younger, because generally Justin Gaethje is a knockout artist. Always like the stand-up fighters. They're always fun to watch. And knockout artists, they're fucking amazing at what they do. So anyway, Justin Gaethje provided answers at UFC 313 to the questions about the state of his career after he was on the receiving end of arguably the greatest knockout in MMA history. Nearly 11 months after he was flattened by Max Holloway at the buzzer in an all-time moment at UFC 300, which, yes, I did watch live, was fucking unbelievable. Gaethje, who's now 26-5 overall in the MMA and 9-5 in the UFC, showed the result wasn't a defining turning point for the worse when he returned to outrun Rafael Fiziev in the fight of the night on Saturday at T-Mobile Arena. After the victory, Gaethje said he still has ambitions of claiming the undisputed lightweight championship and has his eyes on a fight with Islam Makhachev. That's a tough one, man. I look at Justin Gaethje a lot like a Dustin Poirier. I mean, these two guys have competed twice. They're both very close in skills and whatnot. And I don't know if they have a shot. I don't know if Justin Gaethje's got a shot against Islam Makhachev. Justin Gaethje faced, I believe, Khabib Nurmagomedov before. I could be wrong about that, but Justin Gaethje was an interim champion at one point, and I do believe he challenged Khabib Nurmagomedov at one point for the UFC lightweight championship, and now he's facing a guy that's pretty much similar to Khabib at the end of the day. So this is going to be a very challenging fight for him. I mean, I would imagine it is the next step that he goes to is for the UFC lightweight championship. I mean, at this point, the man's ranked number 3 when he had this fight, so I'd imagine you give him the damn title fight anyway. I mean, he ain't got much time left on his career. He's running out of time, and you might as well give the man his his flowers and give him a shot at the damn title anyway. Uh, his shot at winning, I don't know. I'd say it's about maybe a 30% chance, maybe 25% chance of him winning. If he can get a good shot on Islam Makhachev, I'd say Makhachev is hittable because Dustin Poirier got some good shots and it was a nail biter between the two. But still, at the end of the day, Makhachev still ended up winning that fight against Dustin Poirier at the end of the day. So Justin Gaethje's got a big mountain to climb. I don't know if he's going to be able to pull it off, but if he can get a knockout, that's his only path to a victory, is that one punch knockout power that Justin Gaethje has. If he can do that, that's great. If he can't knock him out, he's going to lose by the judges' scorecard. He's going to be submitted, something like that. Because Islam Makhachev is just a fucking beast. He is not a guy that is easy to beat, and he's exciting to watch. He's good at what he does, and I like Islam. I think he is a great fighter. I think he is as good as Khabib. The only thing I'd say that he's flawed at is Khabib didn't get hit very much, and Makhachev has. He has been beaten once in his career. So, I mean, he does have a loss. Somebody beat him somewhere along the line. I don't know if it was in the UFC or a different MMA promotion. But outside of that one loss, the man has been unstoppable. He's basically John Jones as a miniature guy who can wrestle. And that's basically it, man. So, good luck to Justin Gaethje. I hope he's more than likely going to get the fight, I'd imagine. But him winning, he's going to need a lot of luck and a lot of power behind the punch that he delivers to Islam to be able to get that damn title around his waist. And the last story I'd like to talk about for today's episode of MMA News and Rumors, episode number 6, is Mauricio Rufy. Mauricio Rufy had an amazing fight with King Green, Bobby Green, whatever you want to fucking call that guy. 38-year-old Bobby Green got his ass knocked the fuck out by a spinning back kick, wheel kick. Knocked him clean out. He fell face first right onto the canvas, and the referee just stopped the fight. It was... And Rufy didn't even do anything. He just looked at the ref and was like, okay, he's out. I'm not hitting him. But yeah, amazing fight by Rufy. Had a great fight with Bobby Green. During his press conference for the UFC 313, he called for Beneil Dariush, who's a veteran in the UFC. I think he's a level up from Bobby Green for Rufy. I think that Dariush will test him in a fight. I still think Rufy will win. I think he'll win by maybe a judge's scorecard. I don't think he'll knock him out. He might be able to. Who knows? But I think that Rufy will be tested somewhat. But it is a nice level up for Rufy in competition. And I think Rufy's a great opposition for him. So he called out Beneil Dariush in the aftermath of the win, and that seems appropriate. Dariush might not like it after he had his Renato Marciano fight taken away at UFC 311 in January, but given what Rufy has done in his short octagon stint, he deserves something on that level, even if it ends up not being Dariush. So, Renato Moicano, yeah, he was supposed to have with Benel, and that fight was called off because of an injury, I believe. So Moicano, oh no, wait. It was the opponent that Islam Makhachev was facing. I forgot who he was supposed to face at that pay-per-view. Let me take a look here and see who the original opponent was supposed to be at UFC 311. Because, yeah, there was a fighter that was supposed to face him but didn't. And he actually didn't have a fucking prayer in hell in that fight either. Marciano. So Islam Makhachev was supposed to face Arman Saran. I've heard of him before. I just can't pronounce some of these fucking names. Yeah, he was supposed to face Islam Makhachev. I don't think Islam Makhachev was going to lose that fight at all. I think they're probably going to have that as a rematch at some point. Probably either before or after Justin Gaethje gets his opportunity. And pretty much that would be where that falls for the UFC Lightweight Championship. Lightweight division is really good. The lower weight classes have a lot more excitement going on than any of the upper level classes like heavyweight. Light heavyweight doesn't have a whole lot of good talent there either. The welterweight division kinda has some good stuff. Middleweight has got some things going on there. That's one of the upper level weight classes that do have a lot of good stiff competition going on in the top 10 that I like. But overall, the rest of the upper level weight classes don't seem to have that same stiff competition that the lower classes have, like lightweight, featherweight, bantamweight, and flyweight. You get a lot of different top tier names that if you follow UFC on a week to week basis, you'll remember their names. In the light heavyweight and heavyweight division, not so much. I mean, you probably will remember them if you stick with it long enough. But in all honesty, they're not that memorable. Their fights aren't that great. They're slow. Their stand-up fighting game is terrible, and they gas out. Their stamina is absolutely terrible. That's why John Jones is able to do so well. Tom Aspinall is about the only guy that I can think of that is anywhere top tier names. Tom Aspinall reminds me of a Frank Mir type fighter. He's good on his feet. I do believe he has submission skills. So, yeah. Again, the heavyweight division, the higher level, the higher you go in weight class, some of them are just not all that good. So, that's just my opinion. But let me know what you guys think about the different news that I reported here on this video. Go ahead, hit the like button if you enjoyed the video. Hit the subscribe button if you're not already subscribed to the channel. And leave a comment down below. I'll definitely get back to you on that. Thank you guys very much for watching. And have a great night, guys. Bye.